Lake Show is a horror picture. Luka, LeBron, and company are riding a 3-game losing streak. A blowout loss to the Celtics, a 1-point loss to the Magic when Luka passed off on an open shot, and last night's 113-110 setback against Phoenix on a last-second three-pointer. And all the losses are at home. LA putting the L in Lakers is our take 2.
You can't have two individuals in your starting lineup that are such flagrant defensive liabilities.
This is a soft basketball team, all right?
This is kind of who the Lakers are. They're a flawed team.
When you have one of the worst defensive teams in the league, that is a reflection on the coach.
Whether you talk about their defensive makeup or how they do not have depth, like they're just not poised to make a big splash this season.
I think they will make the playoffs.
I don't.
Hell to the no.
Their schedule left in the season is not that bad.
If you think that Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic could be your two max guys and you could build around them to bring a championship back to LA, you done lost your damn mind.
That's something that J.J. Redick has to figure out.
The Lakers have a bigger problem than just this season.
You offer me 10-1 that they miss the playoffs, I'll take that bet.
Ooh, some strong opinions there. For more on this, we're bringing Kendrick Perkins and sports betting analyst Tyler Fulgham. Big Perk, the Lakers only one game out.
I didn't know it was a green affair.
I know. You know, it's Money Green Friday, okay? Look, the checks come in on the Friday, so everybody wearing their green today. Let's talk about this Lakers team. Perk, can you really see them missing the playoffs?
I'm not going to go that far. They're going to make the playoffs, and it might be through the play-in tournament, but they're going to be in the playoffs. But I will say this, their ceiling is not high. I got them getting put, their ceiling is second round. Because, look, a team like the Lakers in the tough Western Conference that are still going through identity crisis as a veteran team is alarming. They can't guard a parked car. And it starts with their two top dogs in Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is getting scored on 48% of the time when he's the primary defender. Luka Doncic is getting scored on 49% of the time when he's the primary defender. You can't win like that at the highest level because those guys have to be on the floor because they're so great offensively, but the drop-off defensively is just horrible. And what happened is the chemistry, the whole energy on the team is gone. We hear DeAndre Ayton rants. J.J. Redick got to find some type of lineup or some type of strategy because this what he got is going to get him sent home early.
I agree with what Perk is selling there. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to go far. If you offered me 10-1 that they miss the playoffs, I wouldn't take it. I need something closer to 15-1. But if you're a Celtics fan, if you're a family member of Nico Harrison and want to be justified on the Luka trade, yeah, sure, go ahead. $10 to win 100 at 10-1. Go and throw a little bit of money on that. But ultimately, I do agree with Perk. They'll be one of the final 8 teams in the West.
All right, let's get to our games tonight. Tyler, how are you playing?
Duplicate, you know, it's not because they hate each other. It's not because there's something wrong with them. It just doesn't work. The way that they play doesn't work. And look, you look at a team last night, the Suns. Stephen A., the last 10 games in the NBA, the Suns were the 30th ranked offensive team. Dead last because they're missing some of their best offensive players. No Booker last night, for example, okay? They didn't even break 100 points in regulation their last 6 games. They put up 113 in this game. So just because the Lakers are not a good defensive team. And if they're not a good defensive team and their 3 best players are not killing it on offense, they're going to be in close games, and you can't win all of them. So that's just what this is. You know, JJ is right. The losses are loud. This is a team that should make the playoffs, and they'll probably be an early exit. Maybe they'll have something go their way, but that's what this is. Organizationally, they made this clear. This was being built for 26-27, and they were just going to try to make the best of this season, and that's the results you're seeing.
Well, there's a few things actually that we have to point out. Number one, when you talk about there's nothing that they could have done because you looked at his options and it's not there. You know, because Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic are such liabilities. Well, you did say that Vanderbilt was on the bench. That's one body that you could have put out there because we know that's what he's supposed to be there for, to provide you some defense, and you needed defense in that particular situation, and you didn't get it. That's number one. Number two, when Bert talks about, you know, LeBron's got one foot out the door and another foot on a banana peel. Well, why is that? Because the reality is that LeBron James in his 23rd season at age 41 is still better than most of the league. Why isn't he being utilized a bit more effectively? Why is he having a pedestrian performance like he did last night? We got to at least ask ourselves that question. Number three, to answer the question directly as it pertains to what Perk brought up earlier, can the Lakers win or, you know, 2 max players or whatever? He doesn't think so. Hell to the no. Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic as your two max players. That ain't going to work. You can't have two individuals in your starting lineup that are such flagrant defensive liabilities. There is no way around that. You've got to have something around them. Offensively, they can click, and we get that part. But defensively, there's such a liability that you can't load up all your money on those guys at the expense of trying to build a team. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. So we get that out the way now. And then to crystallize and illuminate the issue even more so, let's look at the Lakers here. What the hell is Grayson Allen doing looking like the second coming of Steph Curry or somebody? The guy got 28 points, okay? Why is your bench getting outscored by 31 points to the Phoenix Suns? 31-25. I mean, damn, Los Angeles Lakers, you can't figure something out that rather than to get blitzed by that. And if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, who are now just one game ahead of the Phoenix Suns for the 6th seed in the Western Conference playoff picture, right, to avoid the play-in, you got to look at them and say to yourself, excuse me, you're losing to the Phoenix Suns without Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks? Both of them are out?
You get this deep in the season, and again tonight was a one possession clutch game, which now we've lost a few of those, but we've been great for the most part in the clutch all year. Our losses are louder, I would say. So we had some adversity tonight. Did we not respond?
They responded, but in the end, it wasn't enough, and it is another loss on this road trip. And Joe Fortenbaugh, our betting expert, is with us. Monica McNutt gets up with us early today. But, Wendy, I'll start with you. We mentioned earlier, with this loss, the Lakers are now just one game clear of Phoenix for the final spot in the playoffs and thus in danger of falling to the play-in. And at the end of the day, is that about what this Laker team actually is?
Yeah, I think JJ was absolutely correct. I think they did respond. I think he drew up a great play 2 games in a row at the end of the game, and it didn't work out. That happens, but they're just not a very good team. They're a poor defensive team. Phoenix, for the last 10 games, Greeny, was dead last in the league in offense, largely because they're missing 3 of their best offensive players. They come in, they'd averaged like 97 points in regulation in the last 7 or 8 games. They score 113 in this game. They generated a ton of open outside looks. The last play of the game, they do something very basic. They isolate Luka Doncic and attack him. The Lakers have no rim protector, so LeBron leaves his man because he's trying to make a play at the rim, and they get beat in rotation. This is a regular occurrence on the Lakers, and what was supposed to happen is that when Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James played together, they were going to be an offensive juggernaut, and they're just not. They're just not. The results on the court and the data shows that they're not. Last night is another example of it. And, they're a decent team. They're just not a special team. It's very clear.
So, Monica, I guess we had some technical issues, so we weren't able to get you in on this conversation the first time. Those of us who live in the interesting business, and the Lakers are always interesting. I mean, JJ just said it. Their losses are loud. Their wins are loud. Everything about them is loud. Are we just living in a season where they're not really ready to make any significant noise?
Greeny, that's it. Nothing has changed since you went out on vacation. It's the same when it comes to this particular squad. And to answer the question in our lower third, quite frankly, I think you should be patient in that they are going to make a play this summer to try to upgrade their roster, and that's obvious. This was a fun basketball game down the stretch. One of the stats that stood out to me, though, that speaks to just this team not being sort of powered and fit to compete in the West is they gave up 56 bench points, 56-25, right? Like, whether you talk about their defensive makeup or how they do not have depth, like they're just not poised to make a big splash this season.
Now, they did. I'm looking at it here. Grayson Allen had 28 of those points off the bench for Phoenix. And that brings us to Joe Fortenbaugh, our betting expert, who had one in the notes last night I found really interesting. Joe, go ahead.
Bet them to miss the playoffs. Pays 10-1. If it was a coin flip bet, we'd stay away. But at 10-1, you do the conversion, and all new bettors should get into this practice. Do the conversion. There are calculators online, but essentially, what does 10-1 mean? It means 9%. So you ask yourself, do the Lakers have a greater than, less than, or equal to 9% chance of missing the playoffs? I think it's greater than 9%, so I'd make the bet. I'd see Phoenix getting past them and pushing them down into the play-in. And once they're there, I wouldn't be surprised if they packed it in. This is a soft basketball team, all right? And I know that'll get people all riled up, but they're a soft basketball team. They don't play any defense. They get pushed around, 24th in defensive rating. So far this season, they played 58 games. They got a negative point differential. They have a negative net rating. They're 19th in net rating. They had some success in late game scenarios early, but that's regressing to the mean now. And to Redick's point about battling back, You shouldn't have had the battle back. Phoenix is banged up. You're not on the second half of a back-to-back. You're a 5.5-point favorite. You should have been able to handle your business. You get no credit for battling back in a game you should have won comfortably.
That's Fortenbaugh with all the insight you could
Joe.
possibly. Joe is ready to go.
Joe.
Joe woke up ready to go this morning.
That's
No,
it.
I like
I'm
it.
done for the day. Have a great weekend.
And I'll remind everybody, the play-in is not the playoffs. We treat it like it's the playoffs. We talk about it like it's the playoffs, but it doesn't count as the playoffs. So if they wind up in the play-in and don't get out of them, then they officially have not made the playoffs, and you would win the bet. Hopefully, Joe will rejoin us as the program continues. In the meantime,